So welcome back. We're back at the booth, VMware 2018 in Barcelona, and I'm joined here by Himanshu and by Adam. How are you guys?
Doing very well, thank you.
Doing great.
Okay, good, thank you, and thanks for being here. And so today we're talking about vSphere Platinum, and I want to talk about 6.7 U1, which has just come out. So let's start off with Platinum. So now we have an even nicer piece of metal to accompany our vSphere.
That's exactly the idea.
And I'm really excited about it. I think we should rename the other ones Gold, but aside from that, so why Platinum? What's in Platinum?
So vSphere Platinum is, as you said, like brand new edition of vSphere. We just introduced it. In fact, it went general availability October 31st, 2018. So the basic premise of vSphere Platinum is to take all the goodness of vSphere, right? The robustness, the fact that customers trust it for every single application that they want to run today, and on top of that, add an additional layer of security in addition to what vSphere already provides, right? So with vSphere, we always talk about security for infrastructure, data, and access. And with vSphere Platinum, we're adding on additional application layer security for all sorts of workloads that are running on vSphere, and that's the core idea. The key delta here from what you're already used to seeing in vSphere is something called VMware App Defense. It's currently available as a SaaS service. What we've done is we've taken it and we've natively integrated into vCenter Server, and because of that, we have a really lightweight solution that is able to meet the needs of what IT admins need from a security perspective, as well as security ops, and we can talk more about that as well.
Okay, oh, that's cool. So Adam, can you give me a little lowdown on what is app defense, application defense, and why is app defense, I wouldn't say better, but different than what others are doing in the industry?
Yeah, the key differentiator is that the value that app defense provides is that we're not just protecting against, or chasing bad, if you will, all these unknown sort of attack vectors, right? What we're doing is we're taking an application and understanding how that application behaves, and then we build that into sort of a profile, and any behavior outside of that profile then becomes a potential threat that we can mitigate. So now we're sort of this known good configuration. We don't have to worry about the constant scanning and those types of things that just takes up CPU cycles and takes up operation cycles. And it becomes a much more efficient and effective way to not have to worry about agents and all these kinds of things within all these different types of operating systems and applications.
Okay, so that sounds like what we used to do in the security world, whitelisting.
Exactly.
I must admit, when I heard of app defense a while back when it was still on paper, one of my first gut reactions coming from security and networking industry was, why whitelisting? It's like proven that that's not ever going to work. But I must say that after seeing the product and working with it, I'm truly impressed, and so are the customers that have been playing around with it. The question to you is, we have NSX as a security portfolio. Why is app defense not part of that? Why is app defense part of the vSphere? And can my customers use app defense without having to use NSX?
Absolutely. So yeah, you can use app defense without having to use NSX, and we get this question all the time because they're coming from the same group and all that. But here's the thing, right? If you think about security, the very fact that security incidents are increasing so significantly today, warrants that every single stakeholder in this domain has to care about security, and it has to start with IT, right? Typically, we think about security as a problem of InfoSec and security ops, right? And the IT person wants to get their checklist, make it green, and then have the security person go away. But I think we need to move beyond that now, right? In order to be able to protect the organization and their customers, against these new security threats, which are becoming more prevalent as well as more sophisticated. So you have to start with every layer of your infrastructure, and it has to start with compute itself, and that's where vSphere Platinum kind of comes in. So as I said earlier about how we talk about protecting your core infrastructure, we talk about protecting your data both at rest and in motion across your entire environment. We talk about how with your role-based access control, with audit quality logging, we make sure that we have secure access to your environment, but all these are essentially contributing towards securing the application. That's essentially what you care about at the end of the day anyway. And so by adding App Defense on top of that, you're making sure, and this is what Pat also mentioned in the keynote on day one, is that you're making sure that fundamentally, right, you're adding some of these capabilities. Just as you think of vSphere as a fundamental component of your IT infrastructure, vSphere Platinum now, in today's world, has to be that fundamental layer to make sure that you have security baked in right from the get-go. And then of course you add more security on top, right? The capabilities, whether you're talking about NSX, microsegmentation, as well as adaptive microsegmentation. That's a very interesting new thing that Pat also talked about in the keynote. And so the idea is everything that we deliver through VMware for our customers has a significant focus on security today and moving forward. And that's, I think, what has to become kind of the new de facto as well.
Okay, cool. So one more question with relates to App Defense. It's a SaaS. I think is it already in Europe? It is already in Europe or coming to Europe?
I believe it's in plan.
Okay, it's in plan. There are customers, I mean, you have them in the US and we definitely have them here in Europe. I think us Europeans, we're more anti-cloud than you guys. What are the, so I know what the advantages are of running it in the cloud. What do I lose when I run it on premises?
Yeah, so basically, as you kind of have alluded to, there's two components to this solution. There is the SaaS-based service, and then there's an on-prem piece that's built into vSphere. You can, if you have an air-gapped network, let's say, or you just don't want to connect it up to the cloud because you're averse to that, then you lose sort of that machine learning piece, which is a pretty core piece of the functionality, but being able to have sort of a point-in-time snapshot of a lot of the heuristics and application profiles is still valuable. It's better than nothing, certainly, but not having that cloud-based service is, probably going to, be significant enough value for a lot of customers that they're going to want to figure out a way how, to take advantage of that. But it's not a required part of the deployment. Okay,
cool. So thanks for that. 6.7U1.
Yeah, I mean, so it's an update release, but it's a big one. There's a lot of cool stuff. Probably the biggest for me and for a lot of customers I talk to is the converged utility. So this allows customers to sort of on the fly change architecture deployments. So they can go from this external PSC model, which has more virtual machines, more complexity. If you want high availability, you need a load balancer for the external PSCs. Now you can move away from that and go to this simplified embedded PSC model, and you get all the scalability, you get all the functionality, you get enhanced linked mode, all with that single VM, just on the vCenter server appliance. So that converged utility is going to be a big deal for a lot of customers. A few of the other things, like having live vMotion support for NVIDIA vGPU-enabled VMs, that's a big deal. I mean, we want workloads like that to be first-class citizens, and we're certainly getting there, but introducing snapshotting support, and quiescing for backup, and live vMotion support is also a pretty big deal.
I must say I saw that, I think last year I saw a beta demo at the NVIDIA stand of that live vMotion. And I got one of those, that feeling that everyone has when they see their first vMotion ever? You're like going, what just happened? And like standing there with the screen going, what just happened? This is cool. Okay, anything else that we need to hit on 6.7U1?
The one thing I'll add to that is so the HTML5 based vSphere client, right? So the whole client story has been something that's been evolving, right? So it's definitely one of the highly requested things, like, guys, get this done, right? And so finally we're very happy to say it's done. So it's feature complete, and so you guys can enjoy it now, and you have one client to work with instead of, for some use cases you have to kind of jump back to the older one. So it's all done. It's like moving forward, single client to kind of focus on. Of course, with U1, you don't expect whole bunch of new stuff, but we actually did, like, apart from kind of patching and those kind of things, there's a bunch of new things as well. There's enhanced support from a perspective of vSAN and HCI as well. There's some new things in content library as well. But the other thing I want to also call out is more and more, what we are seeing is that instead of a previously, if you've seen like a 9 to 12 month cycle before we have a U1 out, now we saw it's coming out in 6 months, right? And that's very deliberate because what we're doing is we're adding capabilities on VMware Cloud and AWS, being able to test there pretty fast because of we're managing end to end, and then we're able to bring those capabilities into the on-premises vSphere much faster as well. So in this sense, like customers benefit on both ways. And so if you look at from a hybrid cloud perspective, you've got much better kind of manageability and feature availability across both on-premises and the cloud as well.
So that was great. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you guys next year in Barcelona again, 2018.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.